In this lesson, we're going to be talking about operating systems, and specifically, we'll be talking about the Windows operating system. The Windows operating system is currently up to Windows 8 and goes back to the mid-80s or so, and over that time it's gone through a lot of changes. There are, however, some things that have more or less stayed the same, and in particular, one of the things that has stayed the same is some of the file layout on the drive. So typically what you would have with a Windows operating system is you would have a primary hard disk or hard drive that has the letter C. Now with Windows, all of the drives have letters. And so you can see here the local disk is C. Now under the C drive, you can see a directory called Windows, and that's where all of the primary operating system files are stored. And you can see there's a lot of different directories here storing a lot of different data, like there's logs and there's media, which is where things like system sounds would be stored. Now there are also a couple of directories, one of which is called System and the other is called System32. Now, System32 specifically stores very critical system information. There's some log files in here, and there's a lot of system DLLs and system programs. So here's the audit policy program right here, and there are other programs in here that are involved with system administration, for example. So here's the command processor as an example. That's stored in System32. So System32, as I said, stores a lot of critical programs and associated DLLs, and there are a number of directories inside System32 that store a lot of critical system configuration. Now, in addition to the Windows directory and the System32 directory, we do have other directories as well. You can see here in the top of the drive, there is a lot of, looks like garbage, and sometimes installers just end up putting files there. What I can do here, though, is I can go to folder options and go to view, and I'm going to show hidden files, and I'm going to unhide protected operating system files. So now if I go back here, you'll see here a hyberfile.sys. Now the hyberfile.sys is for system hibernation. So if you put the system into a hibernate state, it basically takes everything that's in memory and writes it out to disk. So the next time that you start up, it can repopulate everything that's in memory and restore the exact operating state of the system that was in place when you hibernated it. So there can be a lot of really interesting data in there from a forensic standpoint, because in that hyberfile, you've got everything that was in memory. So if there's a browser window open, there's all of the data associated with whatever pages are open in that browser. Now, a little bit further down here, you can see a pagefile.sys. The pagefile.sys is the virtual memory file, and that's where the operating system writes data out to when it needs to free up some space in real memory. It will write out to this page file. Again, something else where when the system is down, you've got some snapshot of pieces of information that were once in memory. In addition to all of those, of course, we've got other data that's stored on the hard drive. Now, it used to be with some of the older versions of Windows, there was a documents and settings directory. And with more recent versions of Windows, starting with Windows Vista, we've got the users directory, and we can go to different users and look at information that's stored in there. Now, some of the interesting directories are ones that may be hidden or you're not going to know necessarily to look at. Application data will store a lot of information regarding applications. So if you're looking for cookies, for example, from a browser, you might go into there. So Google has their Chrome browser, cookies, and various other pieces of information with regards to Chrome are stored inside the application data directory. You can see, of course, the obvious ones: documents, downloads, pictures, and music, videos as well. You can look into those directories if you're looking for things that somebody may have stored specifically. So if I'm creating a document, I'm probably going to store it in the documents directory. Same thing with music or pictures. I'm going to store whatever I'm using in the appropriate directories for those. As I said, though, there are some directories here that are perhaps more interesting because they store data that the user isn't specifically involved with. And again, here we're talking about the application data directory. Now that's data that's stored on the hard drive. There are other places that you may want to look. So if we open up the computer management application, which can be accessed either through administrative tools or by going to my computer and right-clicking on that either on the desktop or in the program listing, and you can bring up Manage My Computer. So there's a lot of interesting information here. Here we've got the event viewer where there are Windows logs, and you can see the different pieces of information that Windows is storing on behalf of applications. Here is a security log here, and we've got the system log, and there should be a lot of information that is being logged out by system processes. You can see here the source, in this case, is the Service Control Manager, so there's a service that has written a piece of information out to the logs. And you can also see there's Windows Update Client, and an application has written some information out. Now, there's a number of other logs here. If we open up Applications and Services logs, there's another set of logs. We can go to the Device Manager here and see the types of devices that are installed. May also be useful, and local users and groups are also here in Computer Management. In addition to all of this, you may want to look at something like the Task Manager. So opening up Task Manager will bring up information about applications that are being run as well as processes. Now, processes are different from applications in that processes are part of applications, but there may be processes that belong to services and not what you would normally consider applications. So here are all of the processes that are running on this system. You can see information about the different processes that are running, which may sometimes indicate services or programs that are running that either you didn't know about or maybe you didn't want running. So you can look at the processes tab here in the Task Manager and see all of the different things that are going on your system that you may not have known about otherwise. So that's just a brief overview of the different places that you may look for information about the Windows operating system as you are going through a forensic examination.